Hey, Miss Marion here. So today we're doing lesson 6. If you go to page 128, we're going to read the I can statement. So I can solve linear equations in one variable. Go ahead and give yourself a number. So 1, I don't remember. 2, I kind of remember it. 3, I do remember it. 4, I can teach to my friend. And then give yourself a sentence. So because today's Friday, we don't have a starter. So we're just going to go ahead and start with the I can statements. So today we're going to be focusing on 3 different equations. And so if you have a note page, you're going to be writing on a note page. If you don't have a note page, get out a piece of paper. Go ahead and do these along with me because you need to know how to do these kind of things because you're going to run into them later on. So go ahead and get your page, get a pencil, something to write with, and here we go. All right, so first of all, we are going to do the distributive property. We're going to take 3 and we're going to multiply into the first group. So we're going to say 3 times c is 3c minus 3 times 1, which is 3. Plus, and then we're going to take the 2, and we're going to multiply it in. 2 times 3c is 6c plus 2 times 1, which is 2. And then notice how we have this negative on the outside. Mathematicians do not like to write down ones, so technically that is a negative 1. So we're taking a negative 1 and we're going to multiply it in. So it's going to be negative 1 times 3c is negative 3c plus negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. So now what we want to do is we want to combine like terms first before we start moving things at all. So we want to combine the 3c and the 6c. Notice how this 6c is positive. Notice how this is a positive 3c. We're going to combine those two together. So positive 3 plus 6 is positive 9c. We still have our negative 3 and our positive 2. So we want to combine those together also. So negative 3 plus 2, combine it together, is negative 1 equals, and then is there anything we can combine together on the right hand side? We cannot, so we're just going to leave that the same. So it's negative 3c plus a negative 1. And I know if I do plus a negative 1, that is the same as just minusing 1. So I can have it as negative 3c minus 1. Now from here, notice how both sides are crowded. So I want to pick something and I want to move it. It doesn't matter who we pick, it doesn't matter what we're going to do, but personally I want to go ahead and I want to move this negative 3c to be over here with his friend, the 9c. Because it's a negative 3c, I need to make it a 0. So if I have negative 3c, I need to put positive 3c with it so that they can cancel each other out. So I'm going to add 3c to both sides. And then I'm going to combine things together. 9c plus 3c is 12c. Still have the minus 1. Negative 3c plus positive makes a 0. And I still have that minus 1. So now, again, I want to go ahead and I want to figure out from here who wants to be where. So who wants to be with the negative 1? Is it negative 1 or is it 12c? It is the negative 1. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 1 to both sides of the equation. Why? Because that makes the negative 1 and the positive 1 zeros. Who's left over? 12c. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Now, is it okay to have a 0 sitting here? Yes, that's fine, because 0 is still part of the number 9. He sits in the middle. He's not positive, he's negative. You just cut it in the middle. So this is okay. We still need to go ahead and solve for c. So 12 and c, they are sitting next to each other. They're multiplying. So then we are going to divide by 12 on both sides. So 12 divided by 12, leave c by itself. Grab your calculator, do 0 divided by 12. So read it from top down. 0 divided by 12, that answer is 0. So then c is going to equal 0. Is that okay? Yes. 0 is a number. He's on the number line. It's not, there's nothing there. it's not no so. The answer is C equals 0. So if you don't have this written down on your note page, go ahead and write it down. So pause right now. Go ahead and write it down because you will need to know how to do this. All right, here's the second one we're going to go through. So I want to go ahead and I see parentheses and numbers on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and multiply in. Notice we're going to take the whole thing. So it's going to be -5 times p. So first of all, this p by himself just comes down. And then -5 times p is -5p. -5 times 4 is -20. Then I still have this p by himself. And remember, if I have a negative sitting on the outside, that's technically -1. So I have -1 times 8, which is -8. And then I have -1. So we have minus, right? So, and then we have -1 times p is -1p. And remember, minus and negative, the same as adding, so it's really p minus 8 plus 1p, and then I have p minus 5p minus 20, okay? So if you don't understand how to do that, pause, go back, and look at it again, and go over it. So now I want to combine things together on the same side. So I want to combine the p and -5p. So the p is technically 1. How many p's are there? There's 1 p. So -1 minus 5 is -4p. -20, he's going to stay there. And then I have a p, a 1p here. And I have a positive 1p here. So how many p's do I have total? I have 2p. And then minus 8. So now, again, notice how I have stuff on both sides. Both sides are crowded. It doesn't matter who we go ahead and move or pull from. We want to go ahead and like combine like terms kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to move, just for kicks and giggles this time, I'm going to move this -4 to be over here. So the -4, I want to make it a 0. So if I have -4p, that means I need to add 4p or put positive 4p's, because that's the opposite, on either side. So -4p, positive 4p, they're opposites. The -20 comes down. 2p plus 4p is 6p, and then minus 8. So then now I want to see who wants to be with the -20. Is it 6p or -8? It's -8 wants to be over here with his friend. Opposite of -8 or minusing 8 is adding 8. So now I have -20 plus 8. So what is -20 plus 8? That is -12. Then I have 6p, and then positive and -8s cancel each other out. I want to get p by himself. Who's by him? It is the 6. 6 and p, they're multiplying because they're sitting next to each other. That means I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. So then I have p equals, what is -12 divided by 6? That is -2. So then p is going to equal -2. Again, if you don't understand something of this or you don't have it written down, so if you don't understand it, pause it, go back, go through it again, and if you don't have this written down on a piece of paper, please do it because you're going to need to know how to solve these kind of equations. All right, let's do the last one on this page. So we are going to take the -8, we're going to multiply it in. So -8 times negative, and that's technically -1r, right? So -8 times -1r is positive 8 minus -8 times 5 is -40, and then we still have the 2r plus 49. As before, we know that minus a negative is technically adding 40, and again, we still have the 2r plus 49. So notice again how both sides are crowded. It doesn't matter who we start with. Just because I want to, I'm going to go ahead and start with the 40. So that is positive 40. I need to go ahead and put negative 40s with it. That's opposite, or it's plus 40. So then I need to subtract 40 because that's the opposite. And I need to put it on both sides of the equation. So now 40, positive 40, negative 40, they go away. I have 8r. 2r, there's nothing happens with it. I have 49, right? I have 49 minus 40. So then what is 49 minus 40? That is positive 9. Now I need to go ahead and I need to look at it and go, okay, now we have 8r is over here. Who wants to be with it? Is it 9 or 2r? Well, this one has an r, this one has an r, so that means it's 2r needs to be moved over. I'm going to remind myself, oh, that's a positive 2r. So that means I'm going to subtract off 2r from both sides of the equation. Why? Because positive 2r, negative 2r, those cancel each other out and leaves 9 by himself. And then we have 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2 is 6r. Next, we want to go ahead and get r by himself. 6 and r, they're multiplying, so that means we are going to divide by 6 on both sides. That means it leaves r by itself. 9 divided by 6 is 1.5. Well, that is awesome. We can also use 1 and 1/2, and we can also have 3 over 2. All of these are correct answers for this because they all represent the same thing. So we went ahead and we went through equations to go ahead and solve them. If you don't know how to do this, pause, go back, look at it again. If you don't have this written down, write it down, because again, we need to know how to solve these kind of equations. So lucky for you today, we only went through 3 questions for today. Our homework is variables on both sides, part 1. There is a worksheet for this. It's also in Canvas, so you need to go ahead and solve it, put it in Canvas, and then there you go. I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.